Hello, YTPC. Ethan, Parsimonious Piper here. And today I have got swaggyman piper1926. This is take two. Yesterday we had a nice chat, wonderful chat, and I forgot to hit the record button. Today we have double confirmed. I've hit the record button. Well, what are you smoking today?
I'm smoking a little bit of John's Cotton, Kentucky.
Good stuff. What you smoking today?
Peterson Dairy 408.
I've got a billiard in that that style, that nice swirly mocha stem, and the heavy rustication. That's pretty. I like mine a lot.
I have two pipes from this style.
Yeah, that line.
This one, and the B10, Peterson's B10, which is if I could get my hands on another one, I'd have a third one because I have two B10s now.
Nice. Well, ironically, yesterday you were smoking in a pipe by Lee and I was not. Today you are not, and I am. I've got one of my pipe by Lee pots, and I've got it filled with Daughters and Ryan's Ramback. Nice straight Turkish.
I have to try it sometime.
If you, well, it is a strong straight Turkish. That's the way Mark Ryan like to make it, and it is that. So to kick this off, like I always ask, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live, what you do, what makes you tick.
Well, I live in Southern Ohio, and that's the bottom county, not counting Cincinnati. I'm a technician for a company. I go around the surrounding states and work on mobility equipment, which can be a blessing and it can be a curse. As far as making me tick, well, there's a number of things. Family, friends, the love of music, and numerous tiny things. Being able to put out a garden and try and do it the way Dad and Papaw did. So,
well, speaking of gardening, I recall in a video a while back you were showing us where you were planning to put in your garden in your new homestead that you're building. How's that coming along?
Well, the potatoes are there, which, if you recall another video, gave to a very important lesson I learned, that don't try and just use rototiller on ground that ain't been touched in 30 years.
Yeah.
It took me 3 hours to go 2 rows, and they're not big rows.
Wow. That's some tough soil.
Not to mention rock, and I'm still convinced I pulled out an old horseshoe. I still have yet to take a hammer to it and bust it up, but I'm pretty sure that had to be a horseshoe.
Man, yeah, that if a rototiller won't do it, boy.
Oh, she did it, but it just took a long time.
Took a while. Yeah. Well, let's dive into the pipe stuff. How long have you been smoking a pipe?
I started smoking a pipe June or July of 12.
Okay. So good 10 years. What got you into it?
Well, all for the work that I did from out of high school, working in the local grocery store, to gradually, we'll say, progressing to different jobs. I always ended up with people who smoked.
Mm.
At the grocery store, then when I worked there, you could still smoke in the back room, and it was a cloud, you know. And then working on we'll call it the railroad. It wasn't exactly the railroad, but it was a rail car shop.
Mm.
Always, if I did a job on one side of the car, guaranteed whoever was either working with me or on the other side of the car was smoking. So it's a wonder I didn't pick up cigarettes, truthfully. But cigarettes have never really pushed to appeal to me that much.
Yeah, me either.
But getting laid off from there and then going to work on the barges, half the crews that I ended up working with smoked like freight trains.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just one right after the other.
Yeah.
Until if we had downtime, he'd take a nap and he'd put a dip in and fall asleep, and you'd see a big tobacco stream running down his neck whenever he woke up. So, but it was in that time, and on the barges, that I started trying out Black and Milds, and which was actually kind of getting, believe it or not, toward the expensive side, because I'd smoke almost 5-pack a day, but it was a 12-hour shift, so but that's getting a little expensive, and well, if in a conversation you have with yourself, I think I could rather try and smoke a pipe. Surely that'd be better than this. So I asked around and found essentially the local head shop, and went in, and they had a couple Dr. Drabos.
Yeah.
And it was a straight, I want to say it was a straight Dublin, which is, I want to say the Duke. I'm not sure. I'll have to, I still didn't look. But I still have the bowl, but the stem is long since chewed up and busted. So eventually, one of these days, I'll have a stem made. But the place where I got it from, the lady told me, said, "Honey, I don't have the good pipe tobacco. I just have this bag of tobacco." I said, "Well, ma'am, tobacco's tobacco, surely." What I ended up with was one of the big bags, like so, of roll your own, cheap roll your own. I think it was tobacco or something like that. Yeah, that after trying to smoke about a bowl, that was shortly passed off, and I went back to my local grocery store and found a pouch of Captain Black White. So, yeah.
Well, starting off on well, we won't count the cigarette tobacco, but if you started off on Captain Black, then you started off like a lot of us on either a codger or aromatic. Where has your blend journey taken you from there? What are you smoking now, and what got you from there to here?
I normally run the gamut for what I smoke. Matter of fact, I still have some Captain Black Royal, and it's not the old stuff, unfortunately. I thought it was, because I was really looking forward to it, because it is nice to switch it up every now and again.
Yeah.
But some of that. I like vapors, Englishes, Burleys. The only thing that I can't handle is your heavy floral blends, um, like the Samuel Gallus Grouse Sneer or more, or however it's supposed to be pronounced. Can't do that. At least not one like that. I do enjoy the Samuel Gallus because it is, in some of the blends I've had, it is kind of an underlying flavor. You can, I can't remember what it was, Balsy Flake maybe, that a good English flavor, but you'd also get like a small hint of what was
The
I would
floral.
call floral.
Yeah. Well, stay away from Innerdale flake. That stuff smells and tastes like a rose bush.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah, that one surprised me. I actually like the stuff. I was positive that I would not. Crazy enough, I do, because for me it's not like a regular it's not like a regular aromatic, and like everything that Gawith and Hogarth does, it's strong. They're not real subtle about things sometimes, and Innerdale Flake is no exception whatsoever. Well, you touched too then now on pipes. Have you settled on a particular brand that you like over others?
I normally stick with Peters. Part of the reason really is this right here, the Army mount.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm driving and trying to smoke a pipe and it's not right, you can't, whatever is having a fit. It's easy enough to twist it off because that's, it's made to twist off hot. And I carry pipe cleaners, or actually, I have a little 1/8 drill bit that I'll just stick in there sometime, because whenever
Sorry for the interruption, folks. Had a little delivery on the honey-do list to the truck, and we're in a new location. So pardon if the video is a little choppy. We should still be getting some good audio here. When we dropped off, you were talking about Peterson's and the Army mount, and why that was your favorite thing.
No, well, it's not so much necessary for your straight pipes, and I don't know if the video is coming through very well because I'm showing you the one I'm smoking.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to a bent pipe, I switched it around. This is the St. Patrick's Day of 2010, and if you get clogged down here and you can't work your pipe cleaner in there, even if it's hot, you can just take a stem off and not worry about breaking it. So it's form and function. I really like the Army mounts. I think they look neat. But I mean, it's really more about that part. I think they smoke excellent. I think Savinelli smokes excellent. I like Savinellis. I have several. It's just, for whatever reason, I just cannot. I just cling to the Peterson pipe.
Well, everybody's got something. I mean, everybody knows my brand. And to tell you the truth, one of the things I like about these is that I can unscrew them hot. and like you said, it's not as big an issue with straight pipe, but with a couple of my bends, yeah, it's nice to not have to worry about, can I get a pipe cleaner through it to knock that hole back open, or to dry it out a little bit. I just take the thing apart and get the job done. Yeah, it's nice. Something that I don't think we hit on in our first attempt at this. Do you smoke different blends seasonally, or are you like me, whatever I like year round?
Yes and no. In the summertime, I will go for like Peter Stokoby's Navy Flake in the summertime, or I'll have the taste for it more than normally in the winter. But I always try and keep. They're normally trying to keep it one a English on hand, or a lot of Kia blend on hand.
Yeah.
So
the Peter Stokoby Navy Flake, is that a Virginia base?
I'm pretty sure it's a Virginia Perique with a light rum topping.
Okay.
I've never actually looked it up to say for sure, but I think it is.
Yeah, that's one that I haven't tried. I do like a couple of Peter Stokoby's bulks just because they're good, solid blends and very affordable. Yeah, a couple of them are hard to beat. The luxury bullseye flake is one of my absolute favorites.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That just it works for me. I don't like straight vapors. I like to have something besides just the Virginia and the Perique, and the Cavendish that's in that. Well, that makes it interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have any pipes that you have dedicated to certain blends or types, or do you smoke everything and everything?
I have three pipes. Yeah, three pipes that are respectively dedicated pipes. The B10 here is usually a burley blend, and I will put a Burleys or Virginias. My dairy version of this is normally an English blend or Virginias, because for whatever reason, Peterson normally just smokes Virginias exceptionally well. Not straight Virginias, mind you, but
yeah, Virginia base.
Yeah.
Now, what about the third pipe? You said you had three of them that are dedicated.
So, and I cannot. It's actually a 7L, kind of a straight apple, maybe. I've had it on the channel. It used to be just a strictly early morning pipe, but then I kind of tapered back on early morning and started just making it just a straight lot of Kia. So that, I think maybe once or twice I put some Englishes in it within, say, the last year, but it normally, what it sees is normally about a Kia.
Yeah, I've only got a couple of pipes that are actually dedicated. I have a Peterson 106, the spigot, that Onion gifted me, that I smoke nothing but Innerdale and other heavy Lakelands in that. that is my one dedicated Lakeland pipe, so I can ghost the snot out of it, and I don't care. Um, and another one that was gifted to me is that that carved pipe by Lee, the Viking head, and that one gets nothing but very strong Latakia blends, whether it's Star of the East or stronger, and just because that was what the giver smoked in it, and so I've carried that on. It reminds me of him. But other than that, yeah, I pretty much smoke everything in it. Well, I take that back. I do not smoke wet aromatics in any of my briars. Those go to the corn cobs only. Now, your better quality aromatics, yeah, I smoke those in my briars, but the goopy ones are just for the corn cobs. Yeah.
Talking about goopy aromatics, why do you smoke Captain Black Cherry when there's better cherries out there?
Just because it's available in a pouch, so it goes in my pipe roll, and my wife likes it.
Okay.
That's really the only reason, because it's not one of my favorite cherries. In fact, I recently got a good one of the little cloth type, rubber lined tobacco pouches, so I can carry around my Mylan cherry bonbon, which is a much better. It smokes very dry. My wife likes it. I actually like it. And so yeah, that's what's going in my pipe roll once I get through this last this last bag of distracted by my puppy again. He's walking around the backyard with a stick bigger than his body in his mouth. Sorry guys. But yeah, when I go through that last Captain Black Cherry, I won't be getting any more unless I'm on the road and I'm desperate. But
I've smoked that cherry too, and that burnt the far out of me.
Well, that is actually one of the times that I smoke with my wife around, is when we're in the convertible, and Captain Black Cherry burns like a furnace when you have the top down. So yeah, that is definitely not a car blend for me, and it was one of the reasons that I decided I had to get a good pouch so that I can carry some of that cherry bonbon around with me. Unlike Paladin Piper, I am not going to go on a trek trying to find the best cherry blend. I found one that I like, that my wife likes. It doesn't burn hot, doesn't burn wet, so I'll probably stick to that. I've tried, now the only one I haven't really tried that's really popular is the Cult Blood Red Moon. I've tried the CAO Cherry Bomb. That's not bad. Borkum Riff. What's the Seattle Pipe Club makes a cherry blend, and I forget what the name is. It's good, but it doesn't wow me. But the Mylan, that's a pretty good cherry.
Have you tried Boswell's Cherry Smash?
I have not. No.
You may want to look into that.
But the nice thing, one of the nice things about the Mylans is they're just up the road in Roanoke, a couple hours away, and my wife loves an excuse to get in the car and run up the Blue Ridge, so I can pick up a pound of that in person anytime I want.
Oh wow,
it's pretty nice. And the added benefit now that Onions moved over that way is that I have the opportunity sometimes, at least now, of hooking up with him. But yeah, a cherry smash. I'll keep an eye out for that. And yeah, cherries are just not really my thing, but it's the one aroma that my wife consistently likes, regardless of whether it's a high or low quality cherry. She likes the smell of all of them. Of course.
Naturally.
Yeah. Now, fortunately, she does also like things like Lane 1Q that I like Lane 1Q. How about your wife? What's her reaction, or what? How does she feel about your pipe smoking and various blends that you smoke?
Um, well, she doesn't necessarily care for the most part.
That's my
the but I mean, I was smoking a pipe before we ever started dating, so this is what you get, kind of thing. You know, I mean, that's what it was. I was like, I smoke a pipe. I said I may smoke the occasional cigar, and I said that's essentially my one vice that I will allow myself. But actually, before we started dating, and a little bit in the early go of it, I took to drinking real bad. But I also had a car accident that I walked away and the other individual didn't.
Mm.
So it kind of took a little bit for all that to work its way out.
Imagine.
So, but actually, I will tell you this. So, one year for Christmas, I asked my mother. She said, "What do you want for Christmas?" I said, "I would like a tin of Colt Blood Red Moon." And I pulled it up and I showed her on, I think it was pipes and cigars or whatever. And she said, "Well, okay, I'll see what I can do." And I ended up with 2 tins of it. She got me 2 tins for Christmas.
Huh.
And I smoked, I smoked through 1 tin. But I will tell you, after the very first bowl of that 1 tin, the next day, I had to run back in the house. I had forgotten something, and my wife was still there. And she said, "Have you been eating chocolate?" It was basically, "Are you hiding chocolate from me?" And I said, "No." "Well, I smell chocolate." I said, "The pipe tobacco that I got, that Mom got me for Christmas, the cherry, the cold." I said, "That's a cherry and a chocolate." She says, "Oh," unbelievingly. So, "Oh." And I hurriedly scurried myself back out to the vehicle and left.
So she had only smelled the stinky stuff before that.
Respectively, I was I was pretty much, well, I was just smoking aromatics then, mostly. Okay. So not so much stinky, but by the time that event happened, that's a couple years, several years. We were already married by that point, and I had worked my way into Englishes and not wife approved plans.
Yeah. Nothing that I really love is wife approved in my house. I smoke it outside, or I will encourage her to visit her mom in Tennessee, and then I can smoke it in my office. Because by the time she gets home, she can't smell it anymore. But otherwise, the stuff I really like is not allowed indoors. Yeah, but
I haven't smoked indoors since Russell was born.
Yeah, that does make a difference. Well, let's move on to the YTPC. How did you find the YTPC, and what got you interested in presenting?
Well, actually, as far as finding the YTPC, whenever I got it in my mind that I was going to try and smoke a pipe, I looked it up. which led me to Bradley, Stephen Things,
Right.
Matches 860, and I believe the gentleman's name is Tom, Northwest Pipe Smoker.
Yeah. Yeah, Tom.
Which somewhat flustered me because most of them always, would kind of tell you, pinky finger, and then the next finger, and then back a little harder. But they'd also throw in a story. I just wanted the information at the time because I want to. Is this something that I'm going to want to do? And try and do it right. And because like most early pipe smokers, I shouldn't have to relight it. It should light it once and go all the way down. Well, we all know that's baloney.
Right.
So,
especially if you're talking like we are.
Exactly. Like my pipe has already gone out again. But those were actually my first 3 introductions, if you will, to the YTPC. And up until a few years ago, I did my best to follow all 3 of them pretty well. As far as actually getting into the YTPC, it was, for me, it was all about the camaraderie of like-minded peoples.
Mm-hmm.
Like watching Matches and Sarge. They're ones that I was like, I'd like to have that.
Yeah.
Or on a high note, is I would love to be able to interact with them.
Yeah.
Even if it's comments or what have you. So, excuse me. I actually tried to make a video before Mr. Harden passed, but I went and rewatched it again, and I was like, man, I just sound like an idiot, and I'm not going to even try it. So it was actually after that he passed and everything that I eventually just took the plunge.
Well, I'm glad you did. What led you to choosing your channel name?
Well, that goes back a little bit to a song and a girl. There is a song out there called Waltzing Matilda.
Mm-hmm.
It's I want to say it's just an Australian song, but I don't think it is. I think that goes over to New Zealand as well. But I'd listened to that song several times because I'd never heard anything like it. And I was talking to a young lady at the time who she's like, hey, you want to talk on Messenger? I was like, well, sure. I've got, Hotmail. She said, no, I don't have Hotmail. Make something in Yahoo. So I was just kind of scrambling to do it. And I was listening to the song at the time, and I was like, hey, swaggyman _ yep, that's it. Okay. And the swaggyman has just stayed and has gradually grew essentially to what it is today is Swaggyman Piper.
Now, you had told me before, where does the 1926 come from?
Oh, the 1926 is the ages of myself and my wife whenever we first started courting.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always interested in hearing how people pick their names. Some of them are obvious, some of them not so much.
Yeah, actually, the 1926 has a few other meanings. That was the last four of my last original landline, and the serial number that I had at the car shop. The last four was 1926. Strangely enough, it's woven in there for some reason.
Yeah, the little thread woven into the tapestry of your online existence. Pretty cool. All right. Next to last question. Outside of pipes, what do you do? You told us a little bit about your gardening.
Well, you asked me this yesterday, and I told Joe I like to learn music and all this stuff, but given a little bit of time to think about it, it goes a little deeper actually, because I like to be able to try and preserve, if you will, some of the older ways of life in this area. So the reason that I talk the way I do is because that's the way, respectively, how I heard my grandfather talk. Some of the older words, it generations have since passed me, or was before myself, and it's and then trying to put in a garden. Well, not everyone my age knows how to put in a garden, nor would want to put in a garden, let alone push to put in a garden.
Mm-hmm.
So and I don't know if I've ever mentioned on YouTube or not, but I hope to one day have a pair of horses and plow the garden with horses or mules. But I would like to do that. So maybe it's not lost. I know the Amish, Mennonite, and even some other just plain farmers still use equines to plow, but not really around here. And I think it would be very good for myself, one way, because that's another thing I feel like is another eye-opening event. But also, I feel like it would be good for my son to see essentially his daddy working, and know it's not by machines, but by animals, and learn how to treat animals decently. Does that make sense?
Sure.
But I don't know, what I told you yesterday is music. I like to learn, or I attempt to learn the old Irish and Scottish ballads. That's actually probably close to your area, I think. That might be on the other side of the state. I'm not sure. Madison County. A lot of it comes out of Madison.
The Scottish, yeah, up in the mountains, there's a big Scot community or presence up around Boone. Now, one thing that I didn't catch, what you say you're learning music, what instrument?
I never really had the patience to properly learn a good instrument. It's just the words. Most of your Irish and Scottish ballads traditionally sung is a cappella.
Yeah.
So I've learned through recordings, of course, because no one around here that I've been able to meet very much has the traditional songs like that. A lot of it has, or not a lot of it, but some of it has been turned to bluegrass, which is fine. But I try and go for the more traditional tunes
Oh,
ways.
for me, bluegrass is one of those things that there's a one of the local country stations has a bluegrass hour every Sunday night. I think it's 6. And if we're in the car and happen to come across that, the kids are always amazed that by the second or third verse, my wife and I are harmonizing. They go, "Oh, you know this one?" No, they're all the same.
Well,
There's a pattern there that is, we laugh about it, but there's a comfort and a familiarity to some of the folk music that I like.
Look at some of those old love songs. They're I learned them, and I would kind of refine it by singing to my son at bedtime.
Mm.
Some of those songs, they're murder ballads.
Yeah.
The Knoxville girl. Well, I mean, the man he kills her. You know.
Well, and even some of the ones that have been made very popular through movies like Lorna Doone. You're talking about their version of the Hatfield and McCoys that went back centuries before. Yeah. It
and some of them are funny. Kind of bawdy ballads, if you will. And then some of them are just kind of sad.
Mm-hmm.
But I find that there's a place for all of
it. Yeah, well, I know sharing music like that with your kids is always fun. I've done some of the silly songs in videos, but that time is time well spent with the kids. Just like telling stories.
Yeah, there is a Ralph's Family song called "She's Looking at Me." If you've never heard it, I recommend you listen to it, but I also recommend you watch the music video.
All right.
Okay. It's but I've played that music video while we're driving, and with me and Russell in the car, because my wife is a traditionally trained pianist.
Ah.
Yeah. So she puts up with it, but she doesn't necessarily like it. But the part of the song is, they're going, the men who are playing the music are going back, "She's looking at me." No, she's looking at me. Well, I started doing that with Russell. I'd look back through the rearview mirror and say, "She's looking at me." And he's like, "No, Daddy, she's looking at me."
Well, I recall you telling us that boy's a little flirt.
Oh, yeah. Last count, I think he's got about 3 girlfriends at school. And well, for Easter, I had to drive the church van to go pick up some kids. Well, it was just one house, and there was I think 5 or 6 teenage girls come out of that house, and he was with me, and he was sitting behind me, sitting with all essentially these girls, and just eating it up, just loving it.
Yeah. Starting young.
Yep. It's gonna be bad.
Well, I'm going out again here, so come to you with the same question I ask everybody. If you have anything you want to tell the YTPC as we wind down.
Uh-huh. Kindness costs us nothing.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely great way to end so many of your videos, and it's so true. Well, folks, I'm going to tell you what I tell you all the time. Like something you like. Yeah, be kind to somebody. Enjoy your afternoon.